You're opposed to these two questions on the November ballot for city voters. What's your opposition?
So to me, the opposition is really saying yes to the type of government that we have here in Grand Rapids, our nonpartisan body that has been working. I would say, I've lived here my entire life, and one of the reasons that I decided to run for office was because of the nonpartisan nature of the body, where we could focus on our real and local issues. And I think there's been a lot of sort of wisdom and understanding about how different entities, public-private partnerships can come together to work on things like economic development, support of our community, education, those sorts of things. So I worry that with the proposal, our body would become more partisan in our local races. I also am concerned that our elections could get more expensive for individuals who want to run. So people might not even be able to consider thinking about running because they could feel that they would need to compete with not only the local races, but the races that are happening for presidential, governor, or other state or other congressional races that are happening, which we see right now. There's a lot of asks I get a lot of asks all the time, and I know others do as well. And right now we see, especially in this presidential year, just the nationalizing of our local races, and I'd like to prevent that from happening. I think that our local issues and just making sure that we have local messaging in these elections is really important. So for those three reasons, I am saying, let's say yes to keeping Grand Rapids local. Let's say yes to keeping our nonpartisan body that has been working. Let's try to encourage more people to run for office. When I was elected, it was, and even before I was elected, it was, we have the most diverse city commission from a racial and ethnic background. And we want to make sure that it can continue to diversify so that there can be other voices on our city commission. So for those reasons, that's why I am going to be voting no against proposals.
The people who are supporting this say one of the reasons, specifically on the moving it to an even year, is it will eliminate special interests that are heavily involved in the current local elections. And they mentioned unions and businesses as a special interest. How do you react to that?
Well, I think that, we always want to make sure, we want to hear from people. When you're running for office, you're listening to a variety of people. So for me, even as a candidate and as now as an elected official, making sure I'm hearing from a diverse body of individuals. So it's people in neighborhood associations. It's also business owners. It's new Americans. We just launched the New Americans plan last week. And so there are always going to be individuals who come forth to City Hall, to our commission, and say, this is our individual area. So I think, I think it would be hard to prevent different individuals for advocating for the things that they want. I definitely worry that by voting yes on these proposals, we don't get to talk about our local races. And in fact, because it could be more expensive, we could actually see, I raised $50,000 for my race, and I was running almost like 2 years in advance. And so I was able to do that mostly through individuals, but I worry in an even year election, actually, we would see more special interests come forward because we would need to pay for the significant cost of running an election, especially right now. We have some people who are running in local races, particularly for the Grand Rapids Community College Board of Trustees. And, they're competing with mailers that are coming from special interests, and it's a local race that's at the bottom of the ballot. So I would disagree with that statement.
There's also a cost savings, according to the people supporting this. If you're moving those elections, you're eliminating that odd year election. You're saving some money too. Obviously, you are part of the budget process at City Hall. Does that in any way change? How do you counter that part of the argument?
Sure. Well, I think with anything, there's always the total cost. So growing up in a manufacturing environment, you could see what something is what is the actual cost associated with a particular activity. But we really need to look at what is the total cost of any individual proposal or change in our process. And so Um, I think about the cost of not having a representation at our local city hall that continues to evolve to who really is, who are all the different factions of people who are living in this community. And so, for me, making that decision about running for office, I thought long and hard about the financial implications of it. And I probably, I really had to think long and hard about, am I able to dedicate this time to do that? So I think that there's total costs associated that we don't yet understand. I think we also are experiencing part of my desire also to vote no against proposals is because we've seen some action at our at the state around our proposals, Prop 2 and Prop 3, that were same day voting and no reason absentee. And so some of the things that we've done in the city are, just last week, we're going to have 6 different election drop boxes around the city. So we are already, COVID is almost forcing us to think about how to do some of this differently. And I think that Prop 2 and Prop 3 have also brought efficiencies into how we can save costs associated with our local elections. I also think that perhaps there's a possibility that we could bring in, I happen to mention the GRCC Board of Trustees race, bring some of those local elections and maybe bring them on our cycle of the current cycle, which is the odd years, to experience some cost savings as well. And then to keep those issues very local.
I haven't seen any organized opposition to these two proposals.
So, yeah, there is a local committee has come together. It's called Keep GR Local. And it's really, again, a group of individuals who have worked together against the term limit. So the individuals that are focused on these proposals did work on the term limits here in Grand Rapids. And so there are some individuals who had worked on that, the opposition against term limits, who are also part of Keep GR Local. It's a variety of people. It's educators, it's people who have served and supporting like millages around our parks, millages around our zoo. So I think the key here is, while I am opposed to it, I also, the commission voted unanimously to put these on the ballot because, my feeling is that it really needs to go to the voters, right? So go to the voters. What is their decision? I just want to make sure that people are informed during this time. We're dealing with COVID. People are losing their jobs. They're dealing with online learning. And so, this, the group Keep GR Local, I think, is very much focused on the assets that we have on city commission. Again, I think first and foremost being that nonpartisan body and being able to work together to work on a variety of issues.